there, and welcome back to the Mini Weekend. I'm your host, Jack. Let's get into it, Mini. Well, drink for the podcast. Tonight, we went with Edna's Mojito, and truth be told, this was a Christmas gift I got from my parents to try on the podcast, and this is really good. This is very good. I'm not going to lie, this might have to be one of the best non-alcoholic drink. I wouldn't even call it a mocktail that I have had. Super smooth, super easy. And did see this best served cold over ice. So next time we're gonna have that, and it might even be better. But yeah, Edna's Mojito, and I was looking into it briefly before getting on the podcast because when I saw the packaging that it came in, it looked new and it looked cool. But while I was looking at it more, getting ready for the podcast actually tonight, I was like, why haven't I heard this before? And I thought I had tried it before, and I don't believe I have. I think I looked them up and wanted to do them before, but we haven't. But Edna's, what is it? It's just Edna's non-alcoholic cocktail company. Our neighbors of the north, yes, they're from the great city of Canada. Country, obviously. But yeah, it's ednascocktails.com. They have a lot more awesome ones that I am going to have to try out. They have the Paloma, the Mule, the Collins, and the Mezcalita. I don't know that I've ever had one of those, so I'm definitely be trying one of those guys for you. And probably a John Collins as well too, but I really like it. It's alcohol free. Sans alcohol. It's got rum extract, mint, and lime. Like I said, I mean, this has to be one of my favorites. Authentic spirit extracts, all natural premium ingredients, no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And I mean, yeah, really, really good. They've been around for years now. And once again, super, super simple website. You go to it. You can use Edna's 10 to get 10% off your order. You can shop online. You can click on there. It'll tell you where you can buy them, and you can get them wholesale if you're into that too. And then if you scroll down, they have merch you can buy, news, their store. You can contact them, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, check them out. Looking at it, it looks like there's a good amount of locations within the Twin Cities that you can get these from. Yeah, so go check them out. Let me know what you guys think. If you've tried another one of these other than this one, please let me know. And because I'm gonna have to try it out too, unless you're like, Jack, do not try this one out. Then actually, I still might, just to make sure. But yeah, Edna's Mojito. Truthfully, it's been sitting out for a while now. Was waiting for that Notre Dame game to get over to do everything. Holy crap! We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, really good. I have a feeling I'd like even more if it was just a little more chilled. I'd probably love it even more if it was served over ice. Wow. But yeah, ednascocktails.com. You can find them on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We're going to go 9-2. I really like it. And I might actually, I really need to go get a bigger pack of this because this is awesome. I think it's amazing, and I think it's great. So yeah, go check them out. Let me know what you guys think. We'll go from there. As far as Tommy Town tonight, this is, I know it's a weekly podcast, but the brunt of this podcast, you guys probably guessed, is going to be previewing and getting ready for Wild Card NFL weekend. But we do have a couple other things that we have on board to talk about. First and foremost, Emily wanted to know, Jack, what's going on? Are you doing podcasts on Wednesdays or Thursdays? And yes, I do apologize, Emily, and I do apologize to those of you that listen on a weekly basis. Obviously, I appreciate you guys' support and all that stuff. Yes, through the end of the Super Bowl, we will be doing weekly basis on Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we will actually have our first guest of 2025 on. And I'll have to check the calendar. I think for the next 1, 2, 3 episodes, we will have a guest on. So stay tuned. But anyway, yeah, no, I didn't really post about it last night, so I do apologize about a boot that kind of slipped my mind a little bit, a little miscommunication. First guest was actually supposed to be on last night. Scheduling conflict, things happen. I get it. So you guys will be having weekly Wednesday night podcasts at least through the end of the Super Bowl. And by then we will have a better gauge for what we're going to do the rest of the year outside of the football season. But yeah, just getting that off the bat. Once again, I apologize for those that do listen to this every week and were upset or just maybe confused when nothing dropped last night. So early this morning. So do apologize. But yeah, anyway, like again, the hockey teams weren't in action. The men are this last weekend. The men are getting ready for their second. They're hoping to use that sweep of Lindenwood to get a sweep Ferris State, hopefully, and kind of get that, like we talked about a week or so ago, 4 games in a row, sitting at 6-10-4 currently right now. So if they can get 2 wins against Ferris State, Lake Superior State, Bemidji State, if they can come away with at least a win there, they put themselves in a good position to kind of be competitive from here on out. Friday night's game will be at 7:07, and then Saturday's game will be at 6:07. Both games at the St. Thomas Ice Arena. And then for the women's team, they are waiting patiently to get back into the thick of things as well for their second and final meeting with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. This time in Minneapolis. Friday night's meeting will be at 6 p.m. And then on Saturday, it'll be at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And that'll kickstart. And that'll be the last. After that, they'll be in St. Paul, Wisconsin. And then St. Paul against Minnesota Duluth. So look forward to some home Tommy hockey. And then for the basketball teams, the men's basketball team was actually in action twice this last weekend, including a win last night, pushing them to an amazing 3-0 start in the Summit League. So if they can keep clicking on, if they can get clicking on all cylinders here, they could be a force to be reckoned with come postseason time. Really, really awesome. I mean, North Dakota State, North Dakota, and South Dakota State are tough teams. I should have looked this up, but I want to say between between Oral Roberts, South Dakota State, and North Dakota State, those 3 teams have been the representative for the Summit League in March Madness. I'm going to double check this one, you guys, and I'm going to come back to you next weekend on this, but I'm pretty sure those 3 teams have represented the Summit League, I think 10 of the last 12 years or something crazy like that. So to get some early wins over North Dakota State, South Dakota State, North Dakota is awesome. They didn't have this hot of a start last year in the Summit League, so hopefully they can kind of get those things going and pull into the thick of things here. They got South Dakota in Shennecker Arena this Saturday, the 11th at 7 p.m. And then they'll have a week off before taking on the University of Denver in Shennecker Arena, as well. As for the women's team, they lost. They're on the opposite end of the men's team, currently on a 3-game losing streak. As soon as they started Summit League play earlier this month, they suffered a 77-60 loss tonight against South Dakota in Vermillion, South Dakota. And looking at this, the unfortunate thing is it doesn't look like their last loss. It doesn't look like there was a glaring one really bad quarter. The Coyotes were just a better team throughout. They went into halftime, up 43-27. And then after that, St. Thomas was able to win the third quarter 18-16. But just for every shot, every stop, the Coyotes were right there just to right there to counter. So unfortunately, they dropped to 8-8 on the season, 0-3 in Summit League play, and hope to obviously get things going here. For them, similar to the men's team, after this Saturday, have a little bit of time off to kind of regroup and get things going, as their next game will actually be next Thursday, the 16th. Yeah, 16th, and they'll be in Tulsa, Oklahoma for a game against Oral Roberts. So good luck to them, and can't wait to see if they can turn around quickly like that too. And yeah, like I just mentioned, just got done watching that craziness that was what was it? Was that one the I don't know why I thought Rose Orange Bowl. Notre Dame dispatched of Penn State 27-24, and I have to say, oh Jack, you're gonna say this because they won. I'm saying this because I thought they were the better team, and if I'm being completely honest with you guys, this Penn State team just continues to prove me wrong. They continue to prove me wrong. This is a team that, since the Big Ten championship, I was just like, this is a team that's just gotten hot. They're not a great team. They're getting lucky. They're good, but they're only good because they haven't been playing great competition, or they should be playing some of these better teams closer. And hats off to you, Penn State. Hats off to you guys. First and foremost, let me say this. My college football bracket is shot to shit. I had in my Final Four, I had, I should say, yeah, yeah. I had it. Yeah, it's pretty much shot to shit. I had Texas, which is in there. I had Oregon, who's not in there, who I had winning the entire thing. I had Georgia in there, and then I did have Penn State, but I didn't. I was one of those guys that was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Boise actually won that game. Oh my god! Like I had um, Oregon beating Georgia, so essentially my bracket's shot. Like, yeah, okay, I had Texas in there, but Ohio State should not be in there. But yeah, what a crazy game. Notre Dame trailing for most of this game. Penn State once again proved out to everybody that Penn State proving to everybody that they're the real deal. I expect them to be right back in the thick of things next year with all this stuff and with Big Ten and everything like that. So again, hats off to you guys. Can't wait to see Notre Dame in the championship game. Pretty crazy. We have the Texas and Ohio State game tomorrow night at 6:30, and then after that game, both teams will have 9 days off before the national championship game will get underway on Monday the 20th, or no, what's that? Yeah, Monday the 20th at 6:30 p.m. for all the dice, the whole enchilada. So it's been a fun first college football playoff. Nonetheless, some upsets, some surefire things, but nothing's perfect. There are already people complaining about the format and certain things. So it'll be interesting to see what small tweaks they possibly make next year and going forward. But bottom line is never you can never make everybody happy. So at the end of the day, the NCAA and the college football commission just need to do the best job to do what they think is best. And unfortunately, that might not make me happy. That might not make you guys happy. But every single year is going to be fun nonetheless. We're going to see some fun upsets and all that kind of crazy stuff. So before we get into the brunt of the podcast here, I told you guys last week I have some new drip for you guys from UNRL, and here it is. It is the DWR UNRL golf tracksuit. It's the black on saying, so you probably can't see it, but on this little thing right here it says UNRL golf. Little zip up pouch right here. The coolest thing about this, I actually don't. I got the matching pants for Christmas. I do not have them on, unfortunately. I have my other pants on. The coolest thing about this is this zipper. This zipper and this pouch, you can obviously put shit in, and it's got pockets over here too. But the coolest thing about it is if you're traveling and you're looking make storage, this thing you can fold this shit into here, and you can fold the pants into here that you're carrying in just this tiny satchel thing. It's sick. I already mastered it, and I cannot wait to use the hell out of this thing come golf season. Yes, if you guys are looking for a windbreaker, it is game changing. It's light. I actually sized up. I got a large. I know it probably looks a little bit big on me, but I'm a big quarter zip guy, so I kind of like this because I'll be able to wear a quarter zip underneath this. That way, if it's raining, it's got a hood. I have the hood tied down, which is kind of nice because then you can have it kind of looking like your typical quarter zip kind of a thing, or you can put it up and use it as like a hoodie. So go check them out, UNRL.com. They have some really cool low bulk, high impact outerwear collection, vests and jackets. I don't have one yet. I might soon. Go check them out. You will not be disappointed. So, with that, like I said, brunt of the podcast is going to be spent on wild card picks and dissecting those games, and we will get into that in just 1 second. But I did want to shout out both the Wild and the Timberwolves. They were also in action tonight as well with the Tommy women's basketball team. And the Wild, unfortunately, got thumped 6-1 to the Colorado Avalanche. The nice thing is they didn't really give up a ton of power play goals in games like this. For the Wild, you typically see them giving up 2, 3, even 4 power play goals. They only allowed one shorthanded goal. They only gave up one shorthanded goal. Both teams only had 3 opportunities on the power play. So the fact that they lost 6-1 and they didn't give up a single power play goal is a pretty good thing. And truth be told, guys, I'm not all that concerned with this loss. Does it suck? Of course it does. We're still one of the best teams in the league. You kind of figured this was going to be coming sooner or later. I'd rather it happen tonight against Avalanche, against the Sharks. We got injuries, guys are stepping up, and it's awesome. But being able to do that for like 10 games in a row, 12 games in a row without your stars, it's asking a lot, and it's just not feasible. So does the loss suck? Yes. I'm not all that alarmed about it. I figured we would have a tough loss or here or there once or twice before we're able to get some of these guys back. I think, Kirill Kaprizov, I just had it up. He is scheduled to be back, the 15th, which means that we should only be without him for 1, 2, 3, 2 for sure, maybe 3 games, which would not be the end of the world because we're already, 4-2, no, 5-2 without him. 5-2 without him. So, gotta like that. Finding ways to win games when you don't have your star, which is amazing. So, yes, really quickly wrapping up the Wild here. They're in San Jose on Saturday at 9 p.m. Then they'll be in Vegas at 7 p.m. on the 12th. And then Wednesday night, the next podcast, 7:30, they're hosting the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, would love to have Kirill Kaprizov back for that game. If not, he'll be back in action on the 18th in Nashville for a 7 p.m. game. And then for our Minnesota Timberwolves, they got their 4th straight win tonight. No, sorry, I spoke too soon. 3rd straight win for just the 3rd time this year, and truthfully, and we talked about this a couple weeks or two ago, it seems like we're kind of hitting our mark. Our guys are stepping up. Julius Randle had another double-double. Anthony Edwards had a good, an efficient game, and we're starting to play better defense. This is, I caught the very end of it, and this is already the 10th time in 37 games, 9th or 10th time we've held opponents under 100 points, and that was our staple last year. We just need to continue to do that, even if they're winning games 99-105, 99-101. Holding teams under 100 points is a big deal. So all they need to do is continue to do that, and we should be totally fine. And yeah, everything's not perfect. The one thing I did think about this week that I did want to drop a bomb on you guys is Jimmy Butler. So Jimmy Butler has, if you haven't been following the news, has essentially already told the Miami Heat, I have no desire to finish the season here. I have no desire to be here any longer. This is not me saying that we need to go get Jimmy Butler or that I want us to go get Jimmy Butler. With that said, despite his age, he is still one of the best two-way players in the entire league. So, with that said, I would not be surprised if we tried to get him. Looking at it, I don't know that it makes much sense, and I don't know that it would happen because I know we're already past the first apron in the luxury tax. And currently nobody on our team makes what he's making or more. But in order for it to happen, we would need to give up more assets and more money than Miami would. So I don't see it happening, but I wouldn't hate it. A lot of people might be thinking, what the fuck? This guy was just on our team a couple years ago, Jack. Didn't work. Why the fuck would you do that? I'm saying that because this is a completely different team than what he played on. I think if he was given the opportunity to, I think if he was a free agent after this year or if they were cut him, he would come here for a steal to play alongside with guys like Anthony Edwards, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Mike Connolly, Jaden McDaniels. Like those four guys are good shot makers and they're pretty solid, if not great, two-way players on both sides of the ball and in their respective positions. Not hot take. I'm not saying we need him. I'm not saying we need to go get him. But I would not be surprised to see us in the mix. Or if you were to hear a rumor or two, it wouldn't surprise me. So stay tuned on that. So, like I said, guys, it's fucking crazy. But it is wild card week. Got to get that sour taste of... Got to get that sour taste of the loss to the Lions. Super fucking embarrassing that happened. Still can't believe that happened. Yeah, I mean, the podcaster in me wants to kind of dissect that game a little bit more for you guys, but if I'm being honest, I don't completely know where to start. Sam Darnold, it looked like was gripping the ball a little bit too tight there a lot of times during the game. Our defense played unbelievable for the first, first 2.5, almost 3 quarters. And then they just got tired because they were out there the entire time. But yeah, I thought our defense played good. I thought our offense at times looked amazing. But the fact that we could not score a single touchdown is very frustrating and pisses me off just to bring it up again. And then very similar to the first game against Los Angeles, the beginning of the year. If they would have called that intentional grounding, that doesn't mean we would have won the game, but that would have been an incredible momentum changer. That safety would have given us, I believe, it would have made it a 1-point game, I think, for us, or a 1-point game. We were down, would have given our team some energy. It would have given all the guys. I think that would have been a momentum changer, and it would have changed the landscape of the game, not the outcome, but the landscape of the game. And it's just frustrating. I will say I do think the game was very evenly reffed, but obviously I'm a little biased. I mean, I felt, it seemed like Hawkinson was being held a couple times blatantly. It seemed like JJ was being held sometimes blatantly. JA was as well, but, that's in the past. We can't dwell too much on that, but those are my initial thoughts on that game. So we're just going to get right into the thick of things. Before we do, we are going to show down here one side the actual playoff standings versus what I thought preseason. And guys, I have to say, first we'll do the NFC, then we'll do the AFC. I didn't do all that bad. I picked of the 7 teams in there. I picked 5 of the right team. I picked 5 teams right. I picked 2 of the division leaders and all 3 of the wildcard teams, which is you guys get what I'm trying to say. Pretty crazy. Obviously, really quickly, I don't think anybody could have seen the 49ers getting this injury depleted. I thought the Atlanta Falcons would be doing a little bit better than they did. Tampa Bay got in there, and really that's really the only difference in what ended up happening, and the Rams ended up taking the 4th seed over that. But other than Tampa Bay not being in there, and LA actually being the division winner at 4 instead of San Francisco, not too bad, not terrible. And then very similar to the AFC, picking, because it was another weird year in the AFC, picking 4 of the correct teams in there. Obviously, everybody figured Kansas City, that was a gimme. Houston, didn't look great, but figured that was theirs to lose. And other than that, Miami was dog shit. Cincinnati, I don't think anybody could have seen that their defense be that bad this year. And then, yeah, obviously, Jacksonville Jaguars ended up being dog shit more than I expected it to be. And it really would have loved to have seen a Cincinnati Bengal and Buffalo Bills wild card game, but not this year. Maybe next year. So, with that, guys, let's get right into it. So, wild card weekend will get underway this Saturday, January 11th, and it'll kick off with the number 4 Houston Texans taking on the number 5 Los Angeles Chargers at 3:30 p.m. on CBS Paramount Plus. Yeah, and I'll just be completely honest with you guys. Looking at this game, I think the Chargers are the better team. I think the Houston Texans are in the playoffs as a 10-7 team by virtue of getting to play the Jacksonville Jaguars twice, the Colts twice, and the Titans twice. Even though they lost to the Titans once, they haven't really beaten any recently really good teams. They lost to the Ravens. They lost to the Chiefs. If they were able to win one of those games, I maybe would have taken them more seriously as a contender. But I just in good faith can't do it right now. I think not only that, but I think the Chargers are coming into this game are playing better football. Yes, I understand, Jack. They beat the Raiders and the Panthers the last two, or no, they beat the Broncos, Pats, and Raiders in the last 3 games. I get that, but they dominated the Patriots. They looked so much better than the Raiders. And I trust Jim Harbaugh now that he's back into the NFL. I think between him and Justin Herbert and the guys that he has around them, not only do I like them to win this game, but I like them to cover their spread. So for those that don't know, the line is actually the Chargers -3. So give me the Chargers to win outright 27-17 and cover the spread. I'm a big, like you guys know, against the spread better. So give me LA -3 in this game. Game 2 of the weekend will be at 7 p.m. Prime Video. Once again, another money grab from the NFL. Prime Video, as the number 3 seed in the AFC, Baltimore Ravens will take on the number 6 seeded Pittsburgh Steelers. The line for this one right now is 9.5 points in point of the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm just going to start this one off with it. It's pretty simple. Take those 9.5 points. I know there's a lot of people out there that'll say, Jack, there's rarely ever blowouts in NFL playoffs. You're the first one to admit that. And I am. I would love to think a Mike Tomlin-led team could keep this game close. I think if they can keep it close, keeping it a 10-point game would be, manageable and nice. But Baltimore is coming off of a week where they were able to rest most of their starters. They'll be ready to go. Pittsburgh had a tough, loss to the Cincinnati Bengals at the end of the year. Some may say they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. They're going to be in Baltimore. And guys, the Ravens stomped the Steelers a couple weeks ago at home, and they're going to do it again. So like I said, give me Baltimore 9.5 points over the Pittsburgh Steelers in game 2 of Wild Card Weekend. And I got the Ravens to beat the Steelers 31-10. And hot take, I think unless Tomlin's able to keep it close and possibly get an upset, I think he's gone after this year. It's I don't think it's indicative of he's been playing poorly or anything like that. I just think if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got to change it up. You got to figure something out. But here's the thing. I think should they do that, Mike Tomlin's going to be able to go where he wants to go, because I do believe there's probably right now of teams that haven't fired guys, there's probably 5 to 8 teams that if Mike Tomlin were to hit the market, they would fire their coach just to have a chance at Mike Tomlin. So That's what I got. And those will be the only two games on Saturday, wrapping up the Saturday slate. And then starting up Sunday, January 12th, the first matchup will be the number 2 seeded Buffalo Bills taking on the number 7 seeded Denver Broncos in a new game on CBS Paramount Plus. Baltimore is 8-point favorites in this game. And once again, I am surprised it's not more. Bo Nix, I can't say enough good things about him. Marvin Mims, great things about him. Pat Surtain, great cornerback. But other than those three guys, there's not a ton of talent on that team that can go up against Buffalo. Buffalo proved me wrong. Okay, Buffalo proved me wrong. I had them finishing third in the AFC East. Josh Allen showed me he could get things done without Gabe Davis or Stephon Diggs. So much respect to him. Right, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, he is my MVP. I would give him the edge. If I was a bettor, I would bet on him. Or if I was a voter, I would vote on him. I would give him the slight edge over Lamar Jackson from the standpoint of he is more valuable to his team than Lamar is. I know I'm going to have a lot of people saying, what the fuck, Lamar Jackson, he threw for over 4,000, ran for over 800 yards. Yeah, but here's the difference. If you take Josh Allen off that team is definitely third, maybe fourth in the AFC East, and they're maybe in the hunt for the lottery for like a top 5 whatever pick or something like that. If you take Lamar Jackson off the Baltimore Ravens, yeah, they're not going to be that great, but they would still be a 500, 10-7, 9-8 type of team making the playoffs with Derrick Henry. You got Patrick Queen, you got Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews. That is just my opinion. Doesn't make it right. That is my opinion. I digress. But I think it's been great and amazing that the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix have made the playoffs. But I think his inexperience is going to show in this mollywop of the Bills. I got the Bills winning this one handedly, 31-14 over the Denver Broncos. Again, not throwing shade at Bo Nix by any means. I really do like him. I think he's had a phenomenal year. I would put him probably third in my offensive rookie of the year voting. I would go Jaden Daniels 1, Brock Bowers 2, and Bo Nix 3. If you wanted to go Jaden Daniels 1, Bo Nix 2, and Brock Bowers 3, I wouldn't be upset with that either. But they're a young team. They'll get things going, and they'll probably be a team to be, reckoned with next year as well. So those are the first 3 games. Fourth game of the weekend, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, the NFC number 2 team, against the Green Bay Packers at 3:30 on Fox. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys, this was the toughest game for me to pick, and I went back and forth on it. But I went back and forth on it because I looked before we got on here. Jalen Hurts is still listed as questionable. A.J. Brown is listed as questionable. Christian Watson is out for the year, even if the Packers, God forbid, make it to the Super Bowl. Jordan Love doesn't have an injury designation, but he screwed up and is throwing hand sore. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that game. I think the end of the day, I kind of hang my hat on who's been there, done that. And if Jalen Hurts is healthy and you have Saquon Barkley in the backfield, you got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you got A.J. Brown healthy, like full loaded, yes, Eagles all day. But with all those guys out, it's tough to see if all those guys were to play or not play well. It's hard to tell who would step up and be those difference makers. This is a game that I would not be surprised if the Green Bay Packers, with all the injuries and everything like that, made the upset. I'm going to take Green Bay plus 4.5, the spread in this game. But I think the Eagles will win the game. I got them winning 31-28. But again, this would be a game that I would not be completely surprised should the Packers find a way, with or without injuries, to upset them. Something in my gut. I don't know. And then the final game on Sunday, the 12th, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 7 p.m., taking on the Washington Commanders, or the Commies, on NBC and Peacock. And quite frankly, I am a little bit surprised that Tampa Bay, very similar to that 4-5, very similar to that Houston Los Angeles game. I am a little bit surprised that they are favored. They're 3-point favorites against the Washington Commanders. And I gotta be completely honest with you guys. I like the Commanders more. In this game, the Commanders have the better record. I know a lot of people might say, well, Jack Baker did throw for all these yards. They got Mike Evans. They're hosting. Yeah. Very similar to our game, too. The Washington Commanders have a better record than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's something about Jane Daniels this year that he's played amazing, and he's played like a veteran quarterback. He's led them on some really good game-winning drives and tying drives. And he's just got this confidence about him. I would not be surprised to see the Commanders winning their division next year. If not next year, probably 2 years from now. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think after a year like this, I think there are going to be some receivers, some running backs, and some guys that are going to want to play with Jane Daniels. The talent is there. But I do think it's going to be a relatively close game. Once again, I'm taking Washington +3 in this game, to cover those 3 points. But I really do think the Commies are going to win outright. I got them winning to move on to the divisional round, 27-23. And now on to our beloved Vikings and Rams game. Final game of wildcard weekend, Monday night affair, 7 p.m. on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus. And this game is now actually in Arizona. First of all, shout out to everybody in LA being affected by these forest fires. Our hearts and prayers go out to you guys. For anybody out there that could possibly be listening, we're thinking about you guys. Obviously, a natural disaster like that sucks. But when it's all said and done, I think the move to Glendale, Arizona does favor the Vikings a little bit and is a little bit reflected. Geez, before we got on the podcast, we were 1-point favorites. We're now 2.5-point favorites in this game over the Rams. Again, no disrespect to this Rams team. They found a way to beat us earlier in the season, regardless of the missed face mask or not. Like, a win's a win, a loss is a loss. Like, we lost to them outright, like fair and square. And yes, for the record, a lot of you have probably heard me say this already, but I am very much of the notion that officiating is never a reason you win or lose a game, because the bottom line is, if your team lost the game, there's probably 5 or 6 other things you could have done differently within the game that could have put you in a position where you didn't need that call to benefit you or help you out. But this was kind of tough for me to pick as well. My heart tells me we're going to win because I truly believe we're the better team. We're playing the better football. We're playing better football minus that shit show against the Lions. We're the better team. We have the better roster. We have the better talent. This is a great redemption game, get a win kind of wild card weekend. Beat the Rams for beating us earlier in the year. Beat the Rams for Kevin O'Connell. I'm juiced up for this game. I'm super excited. But there's something about my gut that's telling me that the Rams are going to win, because we've been let down so many times. And I think part of my gut feeling is it's one of those things where it's like, it'd be such a Minnesota fucking thing to do, to win 14 games, just to go to LA, a team that is very beatable, and lose and not have a chance to do anything. And last thing I will say about that Detroit game, that game is the exact reason you do not dole out a huge contract for a quarterback before the season is over. Period. We've seen it happen with Dak Prescott. We've seen it happen with Daniel Jones, with other guys, and it never works out. So I'm glad we didn't commit to him. See what he can do in the playoffs, and we will go from there. But getting back to it, I like us to cover the 2.5 points. I'm going with my heart on this one because I do think we're the better team. I do think we're going to bounce back after that embarrassing game to the Detroit Lions. I think they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. They're going to be playing feeling like they should have had the 1 seed and they have something to prove. and they have a chance. They do have a little legitimate chance to be hosting a game next week. Should the Commanders and Green Bay also win, if all three of us won, we would host the Green Bay Packers, and the Washington Redskins would go to Detroit. Which again, we're not gonna go down that hole, but that's how that would play out. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys. Like I said, Chargers over the Texans, Ravens over the Steelers, Bills over the Broncos, Eagles over the Packers, Commies over the Buccaneers, and the Vikings over the Rams. I'll also repost all of the spread picks right here that I will be taking in all these games. And I did calculate it for the podcast, but in editing, I will show you how much, if you put a parlay on all 6 of those games, how much a $10 bet would win you. So that's what we have there. And then lastly, before I let you guys go, I thought we would check back in on bold predictions. So I am super stoked about a couple of these because some of these hit. So one of the first ones I had at the beginning of the year, and we'll kind of do the graphics. Like you guys love the graphics, I know. The first one, Sam Darnold will pass for 4,000 yards. He fucking did. 4,319 to be exact. Could not be happier for that. Could not be happier for that. Super exciting. The second one, we said the Vikings defense was going to be, a top 10 in takeaway giveaway difference, and you bet your ass. I just had it up. We finished tied for third with plus 12 in that department, and we were the only team with at least one takeaway in every single game, every single week. The only teams that did better than us were the Bills, who were plus 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were plus 18 or plus 16, and then the Green Bay Packers and LA Chargers were tied with us with plus 12. But we had 24 interceptions, which goes to one of my, I don't think I posted this on the podcast, but one of my secondary ones was the Vikings defense was going to double their interceptions from last year, 11, and they more than did that. We had 24. We led the team. The next best team was the Texans, who had 9 freaking teen, which is unbelievable. A big reason why we won so many of these 14 games. So we hit that one, we hit that one, and we hit that one. And then we got really fucking close. So the last third one that we posted was Dallas Turner was going to lead the league in sacks and win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And truthfully, I love him. He finished 9th with 3 sacks. And this, a loss is a loss. I didn't hit this one for, obviously. But this one is more indicative of the talent we ended up having on the defensive side of the ball versus him just having a bad year. Because there was a time, I think after the Giants game, we had San Francisco, Houston, Packers, and Jets. And I think those next 4 games, he didn't play at all or much because of the huge games that some of these guys had on the defense. So like I said, it was more indicative of the talent that ended up popping up, which is amazing. But hopefully, we hope to see him, hopefully we can retain some of these guys on the defensive side for next year too. But also can't wait to see what he is able to do, because when he is out there, that dude is a freak of nature. A freak of nature. So I can't wait to see him get more into his bag. And then the last 2, Aaron Jones, and then these last 2, these were secondary ones. I don't know if I posted on here, but I put 4 bold predictions. Aaron Jones, I think, was going to have a career year in scrimmage yards with at least 1,559. He almost did. Didn't quite get there. He had 1,546 yards, 1,138 rushing yards, and 408 receiving yards. And then the last one was GJ was going to be the first 2,000-yard receiver. That did not happen. He finished with 1,533 yards with 10 tutties. So a huge congratulations to all of them, and hope this can all translate into a win for the win over the Rams, getting into the divisional round. And then lastly, congrats to Josh Dagan won $60 this last week for the first TD challenge. And I mentioned there was going to be something cool and different about this week. So with this, we obviously want us to win. But should this be the Vikings' last game, business as usual, you're going to $5 how you think the first touchdown is going to be scored. A rushing touchdown for the Rams, Puka Nakua receiving touchdown, whatever you think is going to happen, $5. And then you're going to comment on your post how many points you think is going to be scored in the game combined with the two scores. And it's going to be closest to the number without going over it. And that's going to be the tiebreaker. So what's going to happen is if the Vikings end up losing and nobody guesses it right, that's going to be the tiebreaker, because we here at the mini weekend are not holding money or the season. Just not something I want to do. I like paying you guys out, and it's been fun doing this with you guys. Next year, obviously, hope to see this get more traction next year as well. So do that. But should we win this game and nobody guesses it right, it's going to roll over into next week. So the tiebreaker is only in the event that this is the last game. So that's how this is going to roll out. Once again, examples over here. But also with the examples, I want to give a shout out to our pick'em winners. So Dagan won the entire thing. I guess I misspoke. Dagan and Jay Hughesy, both tied for first with 1,840 points. So congratulations to both you guys. Andre the Giant's picks 1 was sole possession of third place. Sam Puppy's picks 1 was fourth, and Caitlin in fifth place. So congratulations to all 4 of you. Thank you for everybody who participated this year. I'll reach out to all 5 of you and get you your merch, your winnings, and all that fun stuff. And yeah, it's been fun. Can't wait for Wildcard Weekend. So with that, till next time.